Hey folks, it's Systemic and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to look at a game I've been very excited for, GTFO. GTFO is a game developed and published by 10 Chambers, and it was released on December 9th. The devs described it as a hardcore, 4-player cooperative first-person shooter with a focus on team play and atmosphere. It features edge-of-your-seat suspense and team-based puzzle solving with high-intensity combat. My mere 6 hours of experience with this game has been exactly that. My first takeaways are that it is a heavily team-driven game, and much like the slogan of the game, you either work together or you all die down there. While I'm in no means an expert or even good at this game yet, I just wanted to share my experiences and thoughts as I love what I've played so far, and maybe you will too. My understanding of the lore is that you play as one of 4 prisoners that are being sent into this massive complex underground to complete tasks set forth by the entity called the Warden. I'm still working to learn more of the lore surrounding this game. It seems like there's an aura of mystery here, and that's unintentionally. I think the unknown aspect adds to the terror factor of the game. One example of something I wonder is, what was the massive facility used for before whatever happened, happened? There's some neat posts on the GTFO Discord, and I poked around the wiki as well in my efforts to learn more about the game and the lore. If you know me, I love games that create a degree of immersion and atmosphere. GTFO creates some of the best atmosphere I've seen in a long time with a game. The levels are dark, mysterious, and terrifying at times. The ambient noises cause your mind to crawl into a dark place where it begins to work against you. What was that behind me? What thing can make that sort of noise? What the hell is behind this door? There have been times when I've walked into a room completely dark and not even realized I've stepped next to an enemy sleeper until I hear the horror in my teammate's voice telling me what just happened. The scene where the cage is being dropped some unfathomable distance underground is amazing. My friend always comments how much he loves the sound work as you hear the various obstacles and floors just whiz by. It really drives an atmosphere of terror and tension as you realize you're being dropped into some sort of black hole of despair into the horrors that wait you below. As you get immersed, you can feel your mind turn against you, and I think that's where the terror comes in. You have no idea what waits below. The feeling of suspense hangs in the air and can be elevated to sheer panic when you're faced with some of the puzzles and are forced to cooperate and communicate under the onslaught of a horde. And in my opinion, falling into that panic almost always means certain death. This also presents more opportunities to think strategically and plan ahead to mitigate some of the risks with these events. I'm going to avoid going into any detail about the puzzles or situations. I don't want to give anything away. I think finding out what's in the dark is a huge part of the experience. The next interesting part is something called the Rundown. The Rundown is a work order, or the series of levels you get to play, sent down by the Warden. These are set to change periodically and update to provide new levels and objectives. According to the 10 Chambers video linked below, these can be set up to provide different experiences or feels during the missions. Some rundowns could have more missions than others, and I'm sure those will have varying difficulty compared to the other ones, and could last various durations until the next rundown is passed down via a game update. Make sure you're aware, the game in its early access state does not yet have matchmaking. You have to invite your friends into a lobby or sync up with folks somehow. There is a Discord for GTFO, and I've linked my own Discord below as well. Remember, this game is just coming out in early access, so there are a lot of things coming. I also linked the roadmap below so you can see some of the features. Some of them include matchmaking, voice chat, player customization, expedition awards, and gear progression. I would go check out the roadmap for more info. My advice to you is to use stealth to your advantage, whenever possible. Stay quiet until you have to go loud, but even then, pick your targets wisely. Many of these enemies you face start out in a dormant state, but don't let that fool you. Your enemies are stronger, faster, and can reach out and touch you from longer distances than you might first think. Use your melee weapon and sneak up on the dormant guys. Just pay attention to their body language as you approach. Also, take a moment to confirm your target's down. I can't tell you how many times I thought I killed something, but it wasn't quite done yet. It just got up and scurried away. The enemy movement seems pretty intelligent. They path pretty well and have a minor hint of guerrilla movement, and I mean that in the sense that they seem to retreat and regroup for a few seconds and then come at you from another angle. Some enemy variants are able to launch projectiles that have a slight ability to track towards you, so try and keep moving. The other big threat is the Scout, that spreads tentacles out to find you. If it is alerted, it calls in a small group of bad guys on top of the guys you now have to face in the room who are now also alerted. Another seemingly good strategy is to compartmentalize your space. There appears to be a radius at which things get triggered, and it looks like sealing off rooms can help you prevent beings outside of that space from being alerted. Aside from spawning groups out of it, of course. I'm talking about the guys that get spawned in by the scouts or by an event. I'm still trying to see how this works out, but I think it might be onto something. I'm not sure. It might be a good idea. My final point of advice is to make use of the terminals you find in the levels. They have the ability to list everything on the level and even give you specific details or locations of things in the zone where the terminal itself is. This is key in locating important items or supplies. You can use the information of a vague location of a medkit, ammo pack, tool, replenishment kit, or whatever to make better decisions as you creep through the dark facility. I like to spend a few moments trying to understand where I might find some supplies along my route, as you never know what's behind the next door. Having an idea of what goodies are ahead can keep you going. Once you complete your objective, you have to get back to the cage for a final checkpoint where you have a small holdout situation until you're taken out of the facility. I strongly advise you take a moment, look at your map, plan your route, and even walk it over if possible. While doing so, I'd close off any doors that don't go along your path of escape to block enemy movement, and if you have them, start placing tools and turrets along your route to ease your own movement. Remember to use key choke points to buy yourself time and prepare your holdout area. The enemies in mass are a huge threat, so taking their numerical advantage away is a huge help to yourself. Overall, if you like team-based games, horror shooters, or immersive games, I would definitely give this one a look. It seems like playing with more people the better here. While I'm not saying you can't do it solo, I imagine it would be pretty hard, so grab a friend or two, or three. Team-based game, right? The immersion is awesome, the gameplay is thoroughly entertaining, especially when your friends freak out. And personally, I love games that require you to work together. It is hardcore, so if you get cornered or surrounded, you're probably going to die. So if you're into the hardcore type game stuff, I would do more research before making a decision on this one. I hope this was somewhat helpful or informative. I'm super excited for the game to see what new levels come in the rundown. If you liked this or thought it was helpful, please drop a like. If you want to see more of my stuff, hit the subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell icon. What tips or tricks do you use for GTFO? I would love to know in the comments below. I plan on releasing another video here shortly on our run of the first level called A1, the Admin, where we survived, and we'll be progressing to the next level here shortly. Don't forget, I also stream on Twitch at SystemicTTV. I go live Mondays and Thursdays, 7 PM Eastern. If you're looking for a group of gamers to hang out with, I also have a link to my Discord below. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.